Hey everybody, it's Patrick with PDub's Crypto World. So today, after a couple conversations with a few people, both in my Discord as well as a trading Discord I use for standard stock, I'm part of another Pearson's group as well. I kind of wanted to go over some information that I've been dealing with and might be able to help you. As dilution starts getting closer to coming out here, I've been getting a lot more questions about the different kind of settings and options that you can do. Excuse me. One thing that I do want to kind of point out here is, when is it a good time to trade? Obviously, you can dilute, you can buy coins, sell coins at any point in time, but the market is ripe at specific times. And when I'm looking at this, if you look here, we're all green, and we're green up here. So one thing that I like to stress when I am actually diluting coins to prevent myself from getting stuck in old bags, and this applies to buying as a whole, when you want to buy, when you don't want to buy, and those types of things. So I like to use, and this is in my profit trailer, this is a little indicator here of what the price is looking like on Bitcoin. So if it's been growing, and we see over here that this is the last 24-hour trend, it is at 11,393, and that's about 0.25% up. And we see the same thing on a lot of the other altcoins, as they're in that same range. But when we look at my pairs, you can see some of these like ADA, Ethereum, and then you have your XTZ, which is actually positive right now. But if you look at a lot of the pending coins, and you see red, this is just a sea of red for what they are. That's generally going to be indicated by the Bitcoin price here. So if the Bitcoin price is green, and you're green here, and ideally this, you don't want this to be really big. You'd like to have this under 2.5%. Obviously, everybody cares about the price of Bitcoin and whether it's up or down. But at a certain point, if this right here is low percentage over like the last 24 hours, then that's going to indicate that the period of time is much more calm for price action, which makes it a lot more predictable. And when it's more predictable and lower percentage like this, you're going to have close to zero losses or low gains on the altcoins. And that's the same thing that's going to apply towards normal stock buying. When you have these kind of periods, these coins are going to be easier to trade. And then when you have lower settings, it's easier to get into them. So paying attention to what the main coin is doing is going to allow you to know when it's a good time to trade the altcoins. And obviously, if Bitcoin is erratic and all over the place, it's not going to be a good time for you to trade. So if you sit there and you look at, for instance, Binance, let's look at the XRP here. This is going to be spiked up here very well. Now, I like to use the RSI as an indicator for when people are buying and when people are selling. Some other people will use VWAP to check out the, I believe it's volume weighted average. And that's going to allow you to see what those trends are. And obviously, it's going to be something good to use the latest trends, because the latest trends are going to be indicative of what people are paying attention to and what they are buying and selling according to. Now, I like the RSI because RSI is always going to tell you the strength going on. So whether people are buying or selling, because if you look here, you see as the RSI rises up here, people are buying. Now up here, people are going to be selling at a higher RSI, which is going to bring the price down a bit. But if you notice, the RSI goes down, but the price does not do a lot of shifting down, and it's more unilateral. Now, we look here at a low point, and then we see that it starts getting severely overbought up here. And as we see by the coin here, that this starts topping out, and as we slowly come down on the RSI, we see it relatively correlates there. So the RSI will tell you when people are buying and when people are selling, and that's going to let you know when it's a good time to get out. Because obviously, if you bought in here and then the RSI was going up, even though this price skyrocketed, you're still going to be seeing that at this point is overbought. Would have been a good time to get out. Now, I would have been out before this 92 here, but I'd have been out somewhere around 75, 78, although I don't like to go over 70 on the RSI index if I don't have to, but price action is going to dictate. Let's look at a basic stock. So when we're comparing this to a stock, this right here, I believe we're looking at IDEX. No, yes, and that's kind of crazy. So when we're not looking at IDEX here, we're looking at VRS. Let's look at Netflix. We'll look at that on the Robinhood chart. If you can see, the RSI here is climbing up here to oversold, and it's hovering around there. The price is pretty decent in the action. Then we see that it starts to trickle down. And this red indicator. So for those of you that do trade on the platforms, there's Robinhood and there's Webull, which have free access accounts for those of you that do apply a lot of this type of stuff there. So we look right here. Obviously, first thing in the morning or at certain periods, you're going to get high volatility. So when you're looking at an RSI and a drop here, when you see a big drop, that RSI normally is going to indicate, hey, people have just oversold this now. It's the best time for a run-up. And then you see volume accumulate here. So if you were to look at the VWAP on this thing, it would probably look pretty crazy right here. Now that's on the 1 week trend for Netflix. If you look at it on the single day, you can see first thing in the morning when the market opens up, you have a lot of volume and a lot of erraticism. You're generally going to have that in the morning from the 9 to 9:30 and then up to the 9:45 and 10 o'clock mark. 9 to 9:30 because that's when Robinhood can early access for their pre-market, and then 9:30 is when the actual market opens, so people will start making their big plays. A lot of the times you'll get either a super jump up and spike in price and then it'll level off, or you'll get a severe drop and then a recovery. And it's going to be based on what the afternoon was like the day before. So the previous aftermarket and pre-market will indicate those types of things if you're doing this in the stock market. So what I like to do when I'm comparing this type of stuff is I like to actually take a look in comparison to, let's see here, we will look and take a look at SPY. So SPY is going to be basically something indicative of the SP 500. And you can look and see what the pricing action looks like on this thing. And this is going to be relative to what's going on in the S&P 500. So most coins will go not coins, but currencies or stocks will go according to this kind of market trend. So you always want to use a standard for comparison when you're wanting to get in and out of market trades, because when we look at the S&P 500 standard, where we're looking at this, we can see what the market is doing. So when we know what the market is doing, when there's high volume, mid volume, and low volume, we can take that into comparison when we're actually looking at what another stock, especially bigger stocks, are going to do in comparison to what the market's doing at that point. And the same thing is when you're looking at these coins, this right here is going to be your main market indicator, which is Bitcoin, because everything that you are doing in Bitcoin is anything that you are doing in an altcoin is going to be based on what Bitcoin does. So if you are into Bitcoin very, very religiously, paying attention to what its moves do will let you know what the moves are going to do in the altcoins. Now, you do have exceptions. Some coins will run up 10 and 20% when the market is going sporadic. Every altcoin will be down except for a handful of them, which will typically be crazy and a 10 or 20% gainer on them. But what happens is when Bitcoin is erratic and the market goes down, that means everybody in these altcoins want to be in the Bitcoin to maintain the price because they know the altcoins are going to go down. So when they take and gravitate their altcoin to the Bitcoin, that causes those to go down even further. And then some of those people will even take their Bitcoin and move it into a stable coin to prevent the loss of value at that point. And that's really important because that further drives down the price of Bitcoin. So paying attention to what is going on in the market is going to be the biggest thing that you can do when you're comparing your coins against the market coin. And when your market coin is profitable and not too profitable, it's going to be the best point in time for you to trade. And the same thing is with the stocks. When you're looking at the S&P 500 in comparison to the stocks that you're trading there, that's going to tell you what the market is doing. When you're trading these altcoins, you're going to be looking at Bitcoin in order to see what these altcoins are doing in comparison to Bitcoin. And you can see when Bitcoin is going to be a little green, a lot of your other coins are going to be green as well. When you have the sudden shift in movements for those coins, that's when you're going to start having the problem. So in summation, if you want to maximize the opportunities for which you're buying and selling, it is going to be really paramount for you to pay attention to Bitcoin's price. And if it is too high for the 24-hour gain, then that's going to mean that there are erratic things going on. If this was like a 5 or 6 or 7% gain within 24 hours, you could pretty much guarantee that within the next 24 hours, there's going to be a sudden drop as well, because on the standard, you get the oversold and overbought, and Bitcoin is not exempt from that just because it's the main coin, and everything else is going to follow suit. So if you pay attention to Bitcoin and pay attention to its low moves and low 24-hour gains or losses, as long as they're not big swings, you're more than likely going to find a lot of the altcoins going into green, and that's going to allow you the most opportune time for the stars to align and for you to start trading your coins. That's going to give you the best opportunity to get successful dilutions in, or to just make money or trade with more coins at that point. And always pay attention to that price, because if it's sporadic, you probably want to trade with less coins, because I don't know too many strategies that are focusing on severe erratic behavior of Bitcoin and allowing people to be profitable without getting stuck into bags and having to use strategies to get out of them or cut their losses. So I hope this is helpful to you. Obviously, if you're interested in any of this, I really recommend you join the Discord channel. Get out there, trying to brew up some more conversations, help everybody pick up on these kind of things, new ideas, new concepts, sharing knowledge and information. And if you're interested in getting into the Webull or the Robinhood platform, I'll definitely have a link down below. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, stocks, they're a lot more predictable than than your cryptocurrencies are going to be. And both of those commissions have cryptocurrency that you can trade on them as well. If you do holding, then that might be better for you, but they're not the typical that you're going to buy and sell and be able to move off of platform like we do with Binance or any of these other profit trailer platforms that we trade on. So they offer a free stock or two, free stock just for signing up, and then you get a free stock if you fund $100 into your account. Pull it out, leave it in, either way. It is a affiliate, so I do get a share or two every now and then when you guys sign up for it. I do appreciate it. If not, definitely look into some of those things, because if you like trading cryptocurrencies and you can find a good pattern and system for trading here, then it'll help you when you start doing stock platforms as well. And it's really good to be diversified, which is why I do both stocks, options, stock and options, as well as cryptocurrency. So obviously, I thank you for your time. Hopefully this helped you out. Leave some comments, questions if you have, or things you'd like to see covered, and hope to hear from you soon. All right, thank you guys.